Let's Talk. I'm John, this is Matt, and this is Dennis. And today we're here to talk about one of my personal, most recent favorite films, and that is The Empty Man.
The Trash Man.
Here we go. Anyway, before we start talking about The Empty Man, if you guys enjoy film reviews, 4K, Blu-ray reviews, TV reviews, video game reviews, we try and do them all here on this channel. And nothing helps us out more than by liking this video and hitting that subscribe button. So The Empty Man was released in 2020, even though it was filmed in 2017, and is directed and written by David Pryor. And boys, what'd you guys think of The Empty Man?
Well, like I said, The Trash Man, which is what I would call it, because I thought it was absolutely terrible. It was 2 hours and 17 minutes too long, if you ask me. He recommended it, and he said Dennis didn't really like it, and he's our horror guy, so I said, you know what, let me see what I can do here. I'll give it a watch, and that was a tough watch. I had a real tough time paying attention just because it wasn't interesting. I thought the story was stupid, and it wasn't interesting to me. I didn't like it at all, and I couldn't wait for it to be over.
Yeah. I felt like this movie, if you watch it, I think you got to read between the lines because the screenplay really isn't that tight.
I do want to add that I guess it looks like it had a decent budget because it wasn't shot cheaply, and it looked okay, but as far as the story and the dialogue and all that goes, trash.
Yeah, see, that's a negative way to look at this film because I do think it's a very well-made film. It had a $16 million budget. It's got poor reviews all across the board, and right now it's developing...
Well-deserved.
No. It's developing quite the cult following, a cult that I am very proud to be a part of. Not like the cult in this movie, though, which I do think that they were making reference to Scientology and a lot of other religious cults, in my opinion. I think pretty obviously. And I just think that this movie was trying, if you read in the subtext, it's dealing with a lot of like grief and loss and sorrow, and I don't know, it spoke to me in that way. I really did enjoy what they were going for. I enjoyed the leads, the acting was perfect. He did seem like somebody who was going through a lot of loss, and he did lose a lot. And
I'm not saying the actor was bad or the acting, I just think the plot and the story was terrible. It was uninteresting.
Well, you fall a little bit different on the story, right? You think of it falls apart in the end, right?
Yeah, so, like Matt said, I'm kind of the horror guy here on the channel, so I do enjoy these kind of movies. It did kind of have like that Bye-Bye Man, Slender Man, kind of Bloody Mary kind of deal to them. But I didn't love it or hate it. I felt right in the middle. I felt like most of the movie was pretty good. It was your typical urban legend movie, but that ending, man, that just absolutely destroyed it for me. I was okay. I made it through 98% of the film, and then the big explanation of who the Empty Man is and what his goal is just got so muddy and watered down, and they tried to be like super playing into that cult aspect and everything, and I think they muddied it up so much that the rest of the movie was just shot at that point.
I get that, but I just feel like this is David Pryor's first movie, and all he ever did before this was do documentary features on David Fincher films like Seven or Fight Club, if I'm correct. And then he got his shot.
Much better films.
Well, yeah, but he was, look how good this movie looks. This is somebody who clearly knows film. Even the death scenes, especially that 17-minute opening, oh my god, it looks so violent with the girl stabbing herself in the eye. It's well shot. The score is really good.
I did enjoy the score. The score wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But again, overall I hated the movie. I just didn't enjoy it.
But I do agree with Dennis that it definitely, the ending, it's very overwritten. The explanation could have been simplified.
I 100% agree. I think, like I said, everything up to the ending was well done. It was well shot. We were talking earlier, you want to maybe touch on it later, but the bridges, the symbolic nature of them and everything in the film, a lot of it was really good, and they did play with a lot of the symbolism, like you said, of grief and loss, sorrow, and you could even kind of view the Empty Man as maybe like an evil being for depression. So when something terrible in your life happens, depression can come in and kind of take control of your life and ruin it even further. So you can take a lot of different views and take a lot of different lessons from this film. But again, the ending, had they just simplified it a little bit, I think I'd be looking at a much better film here. That ending just really, really, I can't emphasize it enough. They overwrote it, they over-explained, and I even read articles about the ending after watching, and most of them said it seems like the writing team just kind of threw everything at the wall to see what stuck. and that I don't think that's a good approach.
I agree. They took a nice piece of cheese and turned it into Swiss, and it just did not work at the very end. It just, like you said, if they just would have said that they needed a vessel, because then the only way the vessel works is by being somebody who is sad, sorrow, then they needed fear, which makes sense. But by saying like, oh, we chose you, but it's like, but when? When did you start the manipulation? That's where it really does start to fall apart. And I agree. I forgive it because I enjoyed the ride up to that point. I enjoy it a lot. Like you said, the bridges, I think that's amazing. It starts right in the beginning with the first bridge with all those like things hanging from it and the overwhelming snow and everything. I love that. And then we see him first. He's jogging on a bridge, and then the bridge where the kids all hang themselves. All unique. I just think that that's somebody who really has an interest in film and makes you want to read between the lines of the film. So I truly enjoy it for that. And I know you fall completely on the opposite.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Nah. So, I got really excited to tell Matt and Dennis about a movie that I love, and I said we gotta make a video because I want them to do a physical release of this because there is no Blu-ray or 4K, and of course then I'm disappointed today because I have to come on here and defend myself and The Empty Man.
Well, I mean, not defending yourself too much. Obviously we have all three parties present here. We have Matt, who absolutely hates this film, you who absolutely love it, and I really feel like I fall in the middle. I want to like
He's
it.
bridging the gap.
I'm one of those bridges that John loves so much.
Yeah.
I really want to like this film. A lot of it was cool. I think the concept of the Empty Man was done fairly well. The story was interesting. Usually in urban legends, when you summon the person, they come and kill you right there, but his was more like a 3-day trial of the person.
Mm-hmm.
They say first you hear him, then you see him, then you feel him. Each night, you get one phase until he ends up, taking your life, which I thought was really cool. Kind of a unique take on it instead of just, oh, we summon him and boom, we're dead.
And the monster was pretty cool, except it did really keep reminding me of Death from, what's that Cartoon Network show?
The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy?
Yeah. That's what I kept thinking of every time I would see him. I don't know why. It doesn't look that much like him, but it just would remind me of that. So, but it still was cool. We just
I
don't see him.
kept getting Candyman vibes.
It's a definitely Candyman type of story. And just like Candyman, the urban legend is a metaphor for something else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also not a huge fan of Candyman, actually.
That's my favorite horror movie ever, so you can go
That's
fuck yourself.
That's crazy.
We have a very divisive film here, obviously.
Yeah.
Do you like Candyman?
Yeah, I do.
Would you go as far as to say your favorite ever? That's wild.
Dennis falls more, I think, what you were like. Slashes are the best.
Yeah, come on, Halloween, 1970. What, 79?
9.
79, yeah.
Yeah, I do love the slashers, but I being into the horror genre as a whole, I do try to watch everything, and I try to give everything a chance. So this stuff, I like it. It definitely has its place. It has its fan base, and I do get what they're going for. I think that the problem now is a lot of people try to get too creative with stuff because you have guys like Jordan Peele he's making all these great horror movies that are really deep thought movies, but he does them really well. His stories and his twists and everything, they make sense, they line up, and at the end you're like, oh man, that was a great film. I feel like there's a whole slew of directors and writers now who are trying to capture that same thing, and sometimes simplicity is the best twist. I remember when you did your Summer of '84 film, you said the big shock on that one was the guy you thought from the beginning was doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was so simple that in the end you're like, oh my god.
You actually raise a really good point. It's like we're being trained now in our minds to find the deeper meaning in every movie where, you know what? Sometimes you just want to watch a movie.
I fall in that camp.
Yeah, Matt always falls in that camp where he just wants to enjoy himself. Which is nothing wrong with that. We're all different film watchers.
Yeah.
Me, I need more out of my movies now, it feels like. And The Empty Man scratched that itch. I definitely feel filled up now. And unlike Matt here, who's completely empty, and Dennis, who's a half glass full kind of guy. But anyway, I can recommend The Empty Man. For me, this is an 8 out of 10.
An 8 out of 10, that is fucking crazy. I would say, again, it wasn't shot terribly. I understand it, there's a meaning to it, and it just didn't vibe with me. I'm gonna go 3 out of 10.
Whew, that's low.
Yeah, it is.
You're a little high, you're a little low. I think I'm gonna go with a 6. I'll go right in the middle where I've been this whole time. It's a little bit better than average. I think 5 out of 10 is an alright movie. You can, whatever. 6 is a little bit better because I don't have a problem recommending this. if you watch it, everyone will take something different. But if you don't like to think when you're watching movies, like you say, you want the story to just kind of be a one comprehensive story, don't go see this film.
I also think they could have crammed this into a 90-minute movie. There was no reason for it to be 2 hours and 17 minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was criminally long, in my opinion.
I admired it. I really did.
No way.
I really did. So I get it though.
This could have been an 80-minute movie.
No, there is a good 90-minute movie in there. I agree. We definitely.
You could clip a lot out of that, like most of it.
But then a lot more might be open to interpretation depending how you look at it, because he might cut around. Yeah, All right. I think we've either loved it or hated it or kind of liked it enough. So, guys, that's it for another episode of Let's Talk. I'm John, this is Dennis, and this is Matt. Thanks for being here with us. Like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends, and watch The Empty Man. Or don't. I don't know.
Steer clear.